Hey everyone, what's happening? Welcome. Thanks for taking time out of your Tuesday night to hang out with us today. I'm super excited to be hanging out with the Wholesale Formula guys, as well as a partner I have on a number of private label products, Liran Hirschkorn. So I'm going to just do quick introductions, all right? You guys probably know all these guys already. This is Eric Lambert right here from the Wholesale Formula. We also have Dan Meadors from the Wholesale Formula. We have Liran Hirschkorn, who is a partner of mine on a number of products and is a private label master. And then we also have Dylan. And Dylan, I'm actually going to let you talk a little bit about the upcoming partnership that we're doing with the summit.
Yeah, sure. So in case you guys didn't know, or right before we get kicked off here with the Q&A, we just wanted to let you know that all of us are holding a live event, a live personal interaction training and coaching event on October 24th, 25th, and 26th. It's just a very unique, personal event where we're training people on both wholesale and private label. And it's actually going to be held at Dan and Eric's warehouse in Corbin, Kentucky. So it'll be the first time that anyone has ever got to come there for a tour of the place and to get trained on wholesale and private label. If you want to sign up, well, not necessarily sign up, it's application based only. So we look at applications and try to determine if you're a good fit for the event or not based off of your application, because we can only accept so few people. So you can sign up there at the link that's posted right here on the webinar to submit your application if that seems like something that would interest you. If you're somebody that thinks you would get more out of a personal training, for spending 2.5 days, with Andy, with Dan, with Eric, with myself, just really working on you and your business and the things that you need personally to move forward, whatever that is that you want to do on Amazon. That's kind of what we're going to be doing, developing action plans for people. We plan, registration should close this week. We've almost filled the thing up. We just have a few more spots left to fill. And again, so if we don't contact you after your application, we just want to apologize in advance. We can't. It is a very limited event. So I'll spin it back to you guys. We can get started helping people here tonight.
All right, excellent. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of jump back and forth. We had a number of folks that asked questions prior to the webcast. So I think what we'll do is we'll go with some wholesale questions first, and then we'll bounce around some PL questions. So we're going to start with the wholesale. So looking to you guys, Dan, Eric, and Dylan. This is a question somebody asked. They said, what software do you use to keep track of your inventory or your profitability? Which aspects are automated and which are manual? All right, so this is a number of ones. Let's just start with the first one. What kind of software do you guys use to keep track of your inventory and profitability?
We use multiple softwares. One of our best software for this kind of stuff is keeping track of inventory is Restock Pro. Restock Pro helps us, first off, it tells us where our stock levels are with products. It also keeps track of our profitability to a large degree, and it helps to automate the process of reordering and making sure that we're not stocked out on products or run out of stock. So that one really helps a lot. We also use Inventory Lab as to help us keep track of cost of goods, and then Eric uses QuickBooks, right?
Yeah, but Inventory Lab is going to be, by and large, the answer to the question as far as I'm concerned. It gives you valuation. In fact, I was finished up taxes recently, and it's really good. You can select any date throughout the year at any point in time. It'll give you an actual valuation of your inventory that was in Amazon on that particular day. So it's a really robust software and it's one that I use. I don't even use Restock Pro other than for fulfilling orders. So the stuff Dan's talking about, I'm not even necessarily aware of. I don't doubt that that's true, but Inventory Lab is what I use on the accounting side far and away the most.
All right, excellent. So a follow-up question to that same person asked, which aspects, and I guess they're talking about your wholesale business in general, which aspects are automated and which are manual?
For us, the manual side is actually setting up the account. Now, we do have relatively automated aspects, or outsourced aspects is a more appropriate term. Like we outsource all of our sourcing. is done by our VA team, and our VA team. But anyway, so our VA team sends our guys leads and applies for a lot of our accounts, and that part is pretty much the manual side of it. After that, we get it into Restock Pro, and Restock Pro takes over from there, and it tells us, when we need to reorder based on our target stock periods. So it really does automate the process a lot, even as much as we're able to send our purchase orders directly to the company from the program. So we're able to get them out and send them straight to them already exactly what we need. And we set our case pack limits and stuff like that in there. So it's super easy after it's set up.
And you want that answer on the macro or the macro level. Like I'll throw a question at Dan and Eric. How much? What do you do? Like what do you guys do for the Amazon business in a week? Like how many hours do you work on it?
I mean, I generally put in a pretty robust, like 10 to 15 hours.
Yeah, I mean, mine are kind of front loaded. I still, which is foolish of me, but I need to outsource the bookkeeping. But so like each month I have to do orders for order reports for sales tax purposes, but that'll be outsourced soon enough, and that way I can get my hours down under 10. I'm a little disappointed to say it's probably more than 10, probably around 12 hours a week right now, which is not that exciting.
Yeah, and so, but it's possible. We'll probably do $8 million in sales this year, a little over, and that's possible because the sourcing is automated. Then the communication with companies is handled by a team that you guys have hired, and then the processing is automated because it's handled by a team that you guys have hired. You've all worked your way into that. So on the macro level, it's all outsourced effectively.
Right.
You guys just manage the employees.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So, hey, if we have some recent people just joining us, thanks a lot for hanging out. Again, this is a joint webcast we are doing with the Wholesale Formula guys. We're talking about wholesale as well as we're talking about PL. If you missed it at the beginning, Dylan shared that we are actually doing a wholesale private label summit together in a month. If you haven't heard about that, look, Facebook one of us, send one of us a message. There's the link right there. If you are interested in that, you can go there and apply. We've actually had over 200 applications for the summit, and we've been calling people personally, the 5 of us over the last week, just to see if folks are a good fit for it. But if you're interested in it, it's a super good opportunity to be able to come together and meet with us to learn about wholesale as well as private labeling. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. So I'm just going to shift gears now. I'm going to go from wholesale, and I'm getting an echo from somebody. I'm not sure if somebody needs to put a headphone in. We're going to shift gears, and we're going to go to private label. So Liran Hirschkorn, who I think is one of the top guys I've met about private label. And this question's for you, all right? So someone asked, when starting off in private label, do you recommend a category like kitchen, etc., that may give someone a greater chance of success to focus on one to avoid, another one that may have more risk and why?
Yeah, so I mean, there's several categories that you can look at when you're starting in private label. Kitchen is one of them, but kitchen is a category that a lot of people look at. So I would, say other good categories you can look at are home improvement, sports and outdoors, baby. There's a lot of different categories that you can look at. What I would advise you to do is do the opposite of what most people are looking for. Most people are looking for, a lot of the private label courses out there tell people to look for, something light, something cheap, like under $5 that fits in the shoebox that you can ship by air. If you kind of go in with the approach of trying to do the opposite of that, you're going to have a lot less competition. So look for a product that's, over $10 that may be, that you may have to ship by sea, that you can customize. That's not so easy to duplicate or for a beginner to necessarily get into. And I think you have a better chance of success going into it that way.
And what would you say, Liran, what would be a good, man, is that me? That might be me that's echoing.
Yeah, I think it's you, Andy.
I'm going to have to put my headphones in. Facebook Live is going to go silent. They're not going to be able to hear me. Excuse me here 1 second while I get my headphones in. What would you say, is a realistic expectation, Liran, for someone who's like doing their first product?
Realistic expectation as far as?
Are they going to hit a home run, a single, a double, a triple?
I think if you hit a single or a double, it's good. I think your first product is a good learning of how to launch and learn how to pick and launch a product. So whatever happens with that first product, if you don't pull the trigger, you're never going to learn. So the first product is like your Harvard education in private labeling. So I wouldn't necessarily go into it with an expectation of hitting a home run. At the same time, it's hard to completely fail, especially if you follow, Andy's course or, the advice of not doing what everyone else is doing. But it's hard to completely fail because at the end of the day, you still have a physical product you can sell and, hopefully, even if it's not a great home run, then that you can break even or get out of.
All right, excellent. All right, we're going to go back to wholesale. So here's a question about wholesale. How do you do research of other sellers on Amazon? I'm not sure what their question is on that, but do you use any other tools or information gathering sites outside of Amazon?
We don't use other websites. Like the way our process works is we source directly from Amazon. We're looking for products on Amazon that are already selling well, and then we try to source those back to the best source or the best supplier. With that, so it's the tools that we utilize are Jungle Scout. That's our primary tool, and that's where we're able to go to sellers faster. We're also able to. What in the world?
What?
Sounds like a frog.
Is there a frog?
I'm not sure what's going on.
That's weird.
Did I sound that way also?
I don't hear anything.
Oh.
Okay. So what we're trying to do is we're going back to Jungle Scout. Can you actually hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. We try to go through Jungle Scout to help find products and help facilitate. Primarily, our main goal is to find out how many units we can sell in a month, and that helps us initiate our first or opening order.
Andy, there's a lot of questions in the Q&A. I don't know if Dylan, you want to go through that, or should I?
Go ahead and go ahead. You can ask those because I can't see those. My box disappeared for some reason.
Okay, so here's sort of a private label, and it's a wholesale question, really. The question is, I was involved in private label before just switching to wholesale. Is it feasible to help a vendor to do the same things to launch a product that is a good product, but on page 10 with no reviews? So question is, is it worthwhile for somebody to go after a wholesale product that is on Amazon, but it's sitting on page 10 and doesn't have reviews?
You can definitely do that. You can take this one there.
Yeah, no, it's exactly the same principle. I mean, in fact, you'll have a few built-in benefits over private label with this launch because you'll have brand recognition. Now, the downside that is once you get on page one, I promise you're not going to be the only person interested in selling the product at that point, whereas when you get a private label product on page one, you're the manufacturer, so you get to control it. So that's the in and out of that. But yeah, when you're in that stage, that type of product will be ahead in terms of ease to get to page one versus the private label, because like I said, you have the power of the brand, but then once you do get there, you're not going to be able to control the buy box like you will the private label product. So the same principles will still apply for any type of advertising that you do or any type of promotion to get sales up. I'd imagine it would translate the same or very, very similarly closely to private label.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. It really makes sense. That the thing is, if you're successful at doing private label, those skills really translate well to wholesale. Like, I can give you an example. With wholesale, we primarily target products that are already very successful. We're not targeting products that are do poor and try to make them better. But having that ability, that value that you can bring, can help you get more wholesale accounts. So I'll explain to you why. Like, here's an example scenario. For instance, let's say that a company has several very successful products on Amazon that sell hundreds or even thousands of times a month. And obviously you want to get in on that and start selling that product. But let's say they have a few SKUs in their line that do poorly, that are on the page 10, like you said. You can approach that manufacturer, brand owner, and let them know, like, hey, I see that you have this product and this product that aren't really performing nearly as well as your other products on Amazon. Well, let me tell you what I can do. I can help those products. I can do this, this, and this, which this, and this just all end up being things that, you would normally do for a private label product to promote it and get it launched. And you can do that for their wholesale product there, and that can open up doors to that manufacturer so that you can sell their other more successful products.
And we've actually done this before with a couple products where they actually approached us about helping them get the product to do better with sales, and we negotiated exclusivity. Now, this is one of the benefits of doing this through Wholesale. We got exclusivity for that product specifically, and we also had them share the cost of the giveaways, share the cost of the promotion that we did. Like, we still carry a line where we get it very, very discounted because of all of the promotion that we put into it. Dylan actually worked that one out completely on his own. So that's one of the benefits of doing it with Wholesale. I mean, like Eric said, a lot of the times you're going to have competitors jump in, but if you do it the right way, and you can have them share that cost to get it there, and then you just have an awesome product.
There's a question in the chat. I'm finding really hard to find opportunities with 20 to 25% net margins whose suppliers allow new Amazon sellers. I haven't stopped looking for opportunities, but I'm starting to feel a bit disappointed. It's a Wholesale.
I mean, here's the question: is like, why are you saying you have to have 20 to 25% net margins? Like, first off, like, is that a safety blanket, or is that, well, why do you have to have that net margin? That'd be the first question I would ask. The second thing is, typically the products that we target are about 30% ROI. We obviously take as good, if it has 100% ROI, don't turn it down, because that would be silly. But with a 30% ROI, with us, it's not about just the net margin. It's how many times can I sell it? How many times can I turn it over? Like, we're looking at it from the perspective of, I want to sell this thing over and over and over. So a net margin that high, like, no, it's definitely going to be tough.
Would you, just to follow up on that, would you say that, somebody who's coming from RA or OA needs to have sort of a mindset shift between margins in that world to the wholesale world?
Absolutely. It's just like Dan said, like, talking about margins and wholesale is absolutely arbitrary because you're just picking random numbers. There's a lot more information and data that goes behind wholesale and the profitability of products. What is more typically is very, very important that people don't talk about, they just say random numbers for margin or ROI, is that the speed in which that product sells, because you can absolutely outpace. It's how our business has scaled and grown so much. We outpace people that have higher margins and higher ROI with speed. You can sell one product in a month. That one product will sell at a 200% ROI. I'll sell the same product 200 times at a 30% ROI. Who made more money? When you focus on the speed that you can sell and just reorder and having the process be so automated and simple and streamlined that your business will grow with speed rather than margins.
Okay. And there's another caveat to that. It's like, particularly with retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, your margins are bigger, but there's a reason they have to be bigger. First off, I have to go find the crap. Like, to be honest with you, I have to go out and physically hunt for this stuff. And the ability to make money is limited based on my time. Whereas with wholesale, all I'm doing is finding lines, and I reorder them forever. Like, I just continue to reorder, and make money for a long period of time. So my margin can be smaller. And then you also don't have, there is price fluctuation. That is a thing. It does happen on every product ever on Amazon. Like, I don't care how you do it. But the thing we don't see is, like, whereas, let's say that Eric's a better retail shopper than me, and we buy the same product, and let's say he's utilized every discount, even things I've not heard of, gift cards, like all this other jazz, and he's got a much better price, you're going to see a lot bigger swing. Whereas with wholesale, like if I'm buying a product, I may be paying $15 for it. And if Dylan was a really good negotiator, he might have gotten that to $14.50. Like there's just not those levels of gaps that lead to crazy fluctuation for the most part.
So a couple of questions. I'll give one to Andy and then the same question to Eric. So the question is there still time to do Q4? And then followed up for Eric, is there still time to do wholesale for Q4?
So private labeling, if you're just getting into it, you're really cutting it close. Like I recommend now, you always want to try to boat ship as much as possible. And if you're just getting started right now, you're probably actually thinking that you want to bring your product to market in, actually not even January, probably like February or March. You might be thinking of more of a springtime product. Now, if you got a hot product and you can ship it by air, yeah, then that's not a problem. You can place an order, and you actually sometimes I'll get them, shipped within 2 weeks from when I identify a product. But if you're just starting out, you want to be thinking, I want to land this product, January, February.
Well, to address the wholesale issue, there's clearly easily enough time to get up and running with wholesale. But I think also what I'd like to touch on is that wholesale is, and one of the reasons we transition to it is you do see an increase generally across our SKUs, but we do have a lot of health and beauty products and things that aren't like to get the big Q4 boost. Our sales do go up for us, to be sure. But the beauty of it is it's consistent year round. This was what attracted us to us in the first place. Like before, when we were RA, 50% of our entire revenue took place in November, December. So now, while we do get an increase, our monthly revenue may increase 25%, maybe 30% in those months. It's not, we don't have to plan for it and go all in and maximize Q4. We enjoy the increased revenue and traffic that Amazon brings during that time, but it's consistent throughout the year. That's how we make our, cash flow predictions. It's how we make our reorders. And so Q4 is actually for us just a bump. It's not, it's not the big celebration that it used to be when we were RA. And I'm great with that because, like I said, that allows me to have March and April, May, and June, and throughout the year, consistent, steady sales while I'll continue to add products and things of that nature. But to address the actual question, you'd have no problem at all getting an order in and shipped to Amazon and get going for Q4.
So there's a question in the Q&A on private label. So somebody's writing, I recently researched a product with a good BSR that only had one FBA seller. For the purpose of this question, I'll call it Brainy Baby. Because it only had one seller, I assumed it was private label. I went to Alibaba to see if it was something I could sell under my own label and noticed that the exact product was there and it had the same brand name, which was Brainy Baby. So apparently the lone seller just ordered it from Alibaba with no changes and listed it on Amazon. My question is, should I just order some of this product and jump on the listing, or should I order the product, make no changes, but set up my own listing where I'm the only FBA seller? Or should I private label it under a different name?
I'm gonna let you take that one, Liran.
Okay. So my advice is definitely don't jump on that listing, just for the sole reason that in 3 months there may be 10 other people on that listing and the price may get crushed. So if there's good potential opportunity there, I would try to see if you can make your if it is a good opportunity to private label it, make a better listing, make better images, modify it in some way to try to make it better. If the opportunity is there, you want to own that buy box and you want to own it for a long period of time. You don't want to, you don't want to compete with other sellers, especially because more people are likely to jump on it. So I would private label it yourself.
There's no way in the world that you would just duplicate a listing, right? Like you wouldn't just create another listing with that brand.
I wouldn't because the downside is that I'm, it's a wholesale product in a sense for me. And if I'm doing the work to launch it and to get reviews and, and to do the promotions, and I don't have a partner, the Chinese company is not going to, pay for any of the cost of that. I might as well private label it myself so that I can reap all the rewards long term. Andy, you want to go back to the pre questions?
Yep, sure. So, all right, here's the next one for wholesale. Says, hi, I need to know when sourcing wholesale products, what is the sales rank to look for? So we'll just stop there. What is the sales rank to look for?
I got this one if you want. That's not how it works. Like their sales rank is way too complicated, and there's way too much information about it for me to just be like, yeah, 700. And they're like, no, sales rank it means different things in different categories. It means different things on different days of the week. It means different things in different parts of the year. So we don't focus on necessarily sales rank, or people talk about sales rank, or we talk about it in a relative sense. And people talk about percent, top 1% and 0.5%. And we don't care about that stuff. Again, it's just arbitrary numbers. We care about hard and fast data as we can come by. So what we use, and this is, a tip for everybody, junglescout.com/estimator, junglescout.com/estimator.
Or just buy Jungle.
What that will do is, or Jungle Scout's actual app. So what that'll, the estimator is free that I gave you, junglescout.com/estimator. What that'll do is it'll tell you as close as you're going to get with anything else about how many times the product actually sells in a month period. And that's better data than just arbitrary sales rank figures or top percentage figures. You're going to be able to work with real data and analyze and figure out in a better sense about how many times that product is selling on Amazon.
And then you just figure out how many times you're going to sell it. So we care more about how many times we're going to sell it as opposed to just any kind of hard and fast rules with sales rank percentage or otherwise.
So as a wholesaler then, and you if you're looking at a product that's already on there and it has like 5 sellers, so then you just divide that up and you think to yourself, look, if I jump on this listing, I'm going to have this amount of sales?
Kind of. We look at, you have to find who are your competitors on the listing. Like, let's say that me, Andy, Liran, Eric are all on a listing. Let's say that Liran has decided to pay the price of this product in the sky, it's $50. Now me, Andy are tied at $29.99, and then Eric's at $34.99. Who's going to be selling those products? Me and Andy. So like those are the guys that you have to consider. Let's say this product sells 200 times a month. You can almost say that I'll probably get 100 of that. Andy will probably get 100 of that. Now, if you're coming into this listing and you're going to be competitive, you could estimate that you're going to get a third of those sales. So now you could estimate that Andy's going to sell 70, I'm going to sell 70, and you're going to sell 70. And that's what we're looking for, is we're looking for high velocity products that we can sell a lot of.
All right, excellent. I'm going to go to a private label question for you, Liran. So someone stated, Greg Mercer, the creator of Jungle Scout, used a general rule of wanting to see at least 300 sales per month on Jungle Scout. So if you have a product that's 200 or 250 sales a month, but you believe you can get more sales because maybe they're only merchant fulfilling or maybe they're getting bad reviews, how do you estimate how much of a bump you could get for such a product? So let's just take the first question first. Do you have, Liran, like a certain number that you would like to see sell it first before you jump on a product?
I don't have any like particular hard and fast rule. I mean, one of the things that they're asking is sometimes, I'll see products that are only being merchant fulfilled from China, and maybe the rank is 100,000, but I know that it takes it takes somebody here 3 weeks or something to get the product. I know there's opportunity to sell a lot more units if it's prime. So I might go for that opportunity, just knowing that one, I can create better images. And I could do better with the product than a merchant fulfilled from China. So I don't really have any hard and fast rules. I mean, you want to look at better sales ranks when you're comparing, let's say, to other prime sellers. But once you see like merchant fulfilled, or you see really poor photos or listings, then I would say you can sort of make adjustments based off that you can sell more product, based on doing FBA and having a better listing.
Okay, excellent. Hey, so for those of you folks that are just joining us, This is a joint webcast we're doing with the Wholesale Formula guys. We actually are doing a summit in about a month, and we have a few spots left. We actually had over 200 applicants for that summit. That's the link right there. Dylan, can you just tell us a little bit about the summit that we're doing together?
Yeah, so it's going to be 2.5 days of personal instruction. So we're talking about like getting to work one-on-one with everybody that you see here in this webinar. Like you've maybe been to conferences that have 100 or 200 or 300 people at them, right? That's not what this is. This is a few people getting together at our warehouse, the Wholesale Formula warehouse, Dan and Eric's warehouse in Corbin, Kentucky, where they operate their multi-million-dollar wholesale-based Amazon business, and you get to come check that out, see that live for real, and then sit with everybody you see here and work with us personally on what you need to do, on what's going on with your business and how to grow and scale your business that based off of the needs that you have from that personal interaction. It's something that we've never really done before, and we're really excited about that opportunity to work with people on that kind of level.
So if you're interested in that, go to that link right there, and you have to fill out an application. The 5 of us have actually been calling the 200 people that filled out for the application. This isn't for everybody, and so we're calling folks. We're actually doing business strategy sessions with the folks that apply, and we really want to make sure that it's a good fit for everyone. So if you are interested in that at all, go to that link, fill that out. And there are just a few, they're going really fast. There's a few spots open. All right, so Dan, here's a personal question for you. Someone must have watched one of your webinars and heard you say this. So someone asked, they said, Dan, when you invested $600 at first, I assume you reinvested that sum until it reached a certain amount before you withdrew some money. How long did it take? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years until you felt comfortable enough to start withdrawing some from that account?
Well, me and Eric started, this was in 2011, like August of 2011. And that we just started doing retail arbitrage. We both had jobs. And then by the end of December, we decided to go full-time. And whenever we went full-time in January, we had started paying ourselves. Granted, it was peanuts. Like we were paying ourselves peanuts. But at that point, our business had become profitable enough to start paying us. I saw a question in the chat, too, I wanted to touch on. Liran, do you think you could private label a shirt with sleeves for Eric?
Nice.
I don't know. They don't make them that big in China.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm at home now, so I don't have the luxury of sleeves while I'm at home.
I'm going to follow up on your answer there, Dan. So when I started, I actually didn't withdraw any of my income at all for about 16 months. So I just kept reinvesting. I was actually working a full-time job as well, so I was able to do that. So I think that's really key, right, when you're just starting out, unless you have good cash flow, you have a lot of capital. It's really just kind of keep pumping that money back in. I don't know what the rest of you guys think.
No, we did. I mean, we did. When we sat down to take money out, when we quit our jobs, we took out the very minimum that we could just to pay bills. And so, we were fortunate to stay employed for 4 or 5 months, just turning that 600 over and over. So I definitely agree.
Here's a wholesale question from the Q&A. What tips do you have to communicating with manufacturers to become a vendor of their product? Email or phone? How to identify yourself, what to say, what not to say. So you could probably write a book on that, I'm sure, but how do you guys usually contact potential suppliers?
We'll keep it short. We focus through email first because some number of suppliers are going to say yes, just to the email. If you phrase it right. I mean, there's, and our email is really simple. It just introduces our company and then it explains who we are and what what we want to do. And the second part of that is, when vendors either don't respond or tell us no, they go onto our call list, and that's where our highest rate of conversion is. Because, to be honest with you, you have to have a pretty good, you have to understand who you are as a business and what you bring to the table. And we have our team really understands and embraces what we do. So it's, at this point, it's pretty easy. But it's something that everybody can develop. You have to have an identity. And once you do that, you can you can start converting people because they want to be a part of whatever you're a part of.
And just to follow up on that, some of the conversations I've been having with people about wholesale is that, they're contacting companies and they're sort of not getting anywhere. So you obviously have some kind of value proposition. So, in your course and in this summit, is that essentially a lot of what you'll be teaching is how to differentiate yourself from other people approaching these companies?
Exactly. No, exactly. I mean, that's what that's what the core of our business is. And that's what I was alluding to with having an identity. You have to understand who you are and what your strengths are and you can bring to the table. And, it takes a little bit of introspection in terms of identifying those key components that make me a different business than Liran. Now, like in that regard, let's say that we're both approaching a manufacturer. You should not try to be me. Like, that's the thing, is you have to embrace what you can do that's unique, or what you can do to further their brand. And similarly with me. So what we try to do with our students is help them understand, what they can do to help the brands grow and make more money ultimately.
Excellent. All right, so hey, Liran, we're going to go to a question to you about private label. And here's a good one. What do you wish someone would have told you when you were first starting out?
It's a good question. I mean, one of the things that, one of the most important things in private label is, how to pick a product. And that's where a lot of people focus. But I wish I would have known more on how to rank a product once you get that product, because, it's not the same as wholesale or retail arbitrage or OA where, there's already a sales rank or something existing. You put it up on Amazon and the sales start to flow in. You need to have specific tactics and strategies on how to rank a product. And that's something that through doing it and learning, I've learned how to do. But I would say aside from picking a product, getting that product ranked is your biggest challenge. And that's something that, I've learned along the way.
All right, excellent. So a question for the wholesale guys. Someone says, I'm currently a private label seller, U.S. market, but based in Australia. What business structure do I need to set up in order to qualify for a wholesale account when contacting potential U.S. manufacturers?
Who wants to take this one? You want me to take it?
Yeah,
It's a short answer.
I mean, it is short. So, okay, what you'll need to do is you need to get for the wholesalers, you need to establish yourself as a business, which means whatever your country requires you to be a business, that's what you would want to have. And, in the U.S., we're going to have a reseller certificate. You would want to get your country's equivalent to that, and that's what you would want to do to set up there. Now, with taxes or anything else, like you would just need to. I would set up with a U.S.-based CPA, and you should do that regardless. If you're already selling in the U.S., you should already do this, just to make sure you're following any tax compliance or anything like that.
Yeah, and our major tip from us is always, if you ever have legal or tax questions, consult a professional. That's always our suggestion.
Dylan, I'll ask. Somebody's asking in the Q&A. And this is an interesting question. So they ask, with wholesale, have you set up separate websites for manufacturers to vet you, or do you point them straight to your Amazon storefront only? And then also, maybe you could talk a little bit about what you'll be doing as part of the summit as far as websites.
Oh, sure. So I'll answer the second part first, and that is that as part of the summit, if you sign up and register and enroll, I will be building a website for you personally. I've set up the ones that we use for the wholesale formula and for the Amazon business that we operate. It seems like it was a long time ago now. It was about 2 years ago that I didn't even work for Dan and Eric yet. I worked a full-time job, and they outsourced some labor to me to build them a website, and it increased their conversion with picking up accounts like 3x or 5x or something like that. And so it was a major revelation in being able to build a presence for you and your brand and communicate what you're trying to communicate to these companies in a simple fashion. So that it's an incredibly powerful tool that you can utilize, and they're really not that hard to do anymore. But I have a lot of experience doing this. It was my job before I started working with Dan and Eric, was being a web developer. So I have a lot of experience doing it and feel like I'm pretty decent at it at this point.
So Andy, this is for you. You talk a little bit about product selection for private label. How do you find potential like high velocity type of products?
So my typical philosophy is I don't go for the super low ranked products that are hyper competitive. I think those ones tend to get saturated relatively quickly. Now again, it depends on what your business model is and how much you can stomach. If you're okay with going with those hyper competitive categories and you're a competitor yourself and you're willing to spend money, then yeah, you might be able to get, like on that first page, maybe in the top 6 spots, but you're going to be spending a lot of money, right, in order to get your product ranked at that level. And that's cool. And so, if you're that kind of seller, then that's fine. I actually typically like to sell products that are probably ranked 5,000 all the way up to maybe 20,000. And that could be pretty much in any category. And so, those are the products that I tend to go for. And again, like I'm okay if my whole business model, I would love to have 100 products that, maybe sell $100 a day, but where I make, maybe $10 per sell. I'm totally cool with that. And that's actually making a really good living. And so my advice always is to try to go for products that are a little more hidden. Again, if you look at the historical average, it's probably going to be like maybe 5,000 to 20,000, in a consistent 6-month basis. So I don't know. What about you, Liran?
Kind of the same. I don't go into I haven't gone into the super competitive, but I actually, up until now, I'm actually testing right now a very competitive specific keyword. It has about 160,000 searches a month in merchant words. I launched it about a week ago, and I'm now on page 2. But I'm also giving away 100 units. I've given away about 50 units so far of the product, so I am spending money to get there. And it's kind of a test for me. It wasn't an expensive product. It was only about I did it on a cheaper product, but I made something completely different than anybody else. So it's about a $2,000 test. Worst case, I'll probably break even and get out of it. But if it works, it's another strategy. But generally, that's not what I do.
I actually have a question for you, Liran. What do you use for your giveaways?
What do I use for what? For giveaways? Oh, so I use Snagshout. They are, and that's from Seller Labs. They are 100% compliant. Some of the things that other review programs or review groups allow you to do that are sort of against terms of service is they allow you to pick who reviews the products. Like you could see potential people, look at their Amazon profiles. If they've written bad reviews, like you won't choose them. And it's gaming the system more than it should be. With Snagshout, it's basically like a discount website that regular shoppers go to. You can put your products there at a discount, and they buy it and they give reviews. The reason why it works is because Snagshout requires them, in order to get another snag, to be able to buy more products at a discount, they have to give a review. But you're not forcing them to give a review. They don't have to do it. Just in order to get future deals, they need to write reviews. So that's kind of like why it works. That's why you probably get 80-90% of the products you give away, you'll get reviews and get them pretty quickly. So it's a good website.
Well, what's cool about Snagshout too, like on some of my private label products, I'll set it up where maybe I'm only making like $1 or $2, or maybe I'm just breaking even. But you know what? That's cool, because if I'm breaking even and pushing that sales velocity, that's just going to generate more organic sales, right? And so on a lot of my products, I'll set them up on Snagshout where I'm only making a couple dollars or just breaking even. But what that will still do is it'll drive traffic, right? And it'll be in that better position of search. And I don't know, maybe there's other review groups out there that are similar, but for me, Snagshout's the best so far. So All right, so here's the next question. Sorry, I got a little happy there about Snack Shop. All right, so here's a kind of a general question for the wholesale guys. What are your best methods to process large amounts of inventory for FBA prep methods? And I know you guys have your warehouse, but what would you recommend?
I mean, even when it was just Dan and I, we got to the point where we had like a workstation set up where you have all of your poly bags within reach, all your sizes like shelved out right in front of you. You have your any type of stickers that you need to put on it in terms of like, this is a set, do not separate or whatever. And having a box resizer for us handy. Like we had all these tools, anything, a box knife, anything that we would use regularly when packing a box or prepping a product within reach, because what that'll do is obviously increase your efficiency, reduce the amount of steps you have to take to do that. And this thing doesn't matter. I mean, the way Dan and I did, it didn't really matter when it's 1-man, 2-man operations. But where we're at now, I'm actually in the middle of streamlining the efficiency in our warehouse, because it's not just one person taking too many steps. Now it's 8. And then, over the course of the year, that's a lot of lost revenue, efficiency, money. It's a good practice to begin, because if you have it in mind, it allows scalability going up, and it's something that we didn't know or even realize was necessary when we were, building, and it's grown so fast, and now we're having to kind of backtrack and set it from the ground up with operating procedures and techniques to make sure that our products are uniform and then handled and prepped the most efficiently and in the shortest amount of time possible.
So for the wholesale guys, do you think you need a warehouse when you're doing wholesale? I mean, you're buying in bulk and you're not shipping everything into FBA, I'm assuming. So what do you suggest to people, who are getting into wholesale?
I mean, I would, if we were to do it again, I'm sure, I know Dan agrees that we would use a prep center in all likelihood.
A fulfillment center?
Yeah. I mean, without that, I guess it allows the same kind of scalability without any of the issues that having employees and payrolls and coming up just around the corner for us, winter, our natural gas bill in January, February, just to keep the temperature in the warehouse at like 60 degrees, like $2,000 a month. So that all these things don't exist when you just pay per item that's processed at a fulfillment center.
Right.
Excellent. Well, let me get a little personal. I did an interview earlier today with a Amazon seller, eBay seller, and multi-marketplace seller. His name is Adam Black, and he's been selling since 1999, Amazon since 2003, and he's as bullish as ever. He's been selling since 1999 full-time. This is his only full-time job he's ever had, is selling online. And he's as bullish as ever on the opportunities, right, when it comes to selling on Amazon, eBay. I forget the other sites that he sells on as well. He has a really big warehouse. But he's as bullish as ever now than he's ever been. So how are you guys feeling now, wholesale guys? You've been in this game for a while. Do you just see the opportunity still, like Adam does, like it's just kind of wide open still?
Yeah, I mean, I personally do. I know Dan will probably chime in here in a second, but I mean, I think that it's better than ever, because with the brand restrictions, particularly with the wholesale and private label business models, that's something you don't have to be concerned with. So it's going to create a gating effect of sorts, where it's not like the Wild West where just anybody can pick up a product and sell it. Now you have to go through steps. You have to be a legitimate business. And for anybody that's willing to do that, so we have, it allows greater opportunity and sales online as a whole, and particularly on Amazon, has shown no signs of decreasing. So, I mean, it's where I do 95% of my shopping as a consumer, and I just imagine that's a trend going forward. So I think it's as good as ever. What do you think, Dan?
I mean, I don't think it's like as good as ever. I think it's better than ever. Like, more people are coming into the market. There's all these things that are happening that promote e-commerce. Now, I do think competition continues to grow, but if you're willing to evolve and you're willing to change your business and include better practices and constantly try it, our goal every single day is to be better than we were the day before. Like, if you're willing to adopt that mindset, then the opportunity continues to grow. It's not just, as good as it ever was. It's getting bigger, but it does take the evolutionary mindset.
And Amazon has continued to grow. year after year, and it'll, when it stops, nobody knows.
So I've seen a few people ask this. So I'll post this to Andy and then to one of the wholesale guys. Pretend I'm the judge here. People ask, like, which would you start off with, wholesale or private label? So Andy, make the case. Why would you start off with private label? Wholesale guys, you make the case for wholesale.
Those should be fun.
All right. I think, first of all, they are both great business models. Just like Eric just said, if you're a newer seller on Amazon, I think you want to jump into wholesale and you want to jump into private label sooner rather than later. Amazon is definitely consolidating, right? Their sellers, the brands are consolidating who can sell their product, right? And so the best way to be able to sell name brand products is just like Dan shared earlier. If you're doing wholesale, you want to be a legitimate business, right? That's how you're going to get the wholesale business. I mean, Liran, you and I were just at the Magic Show, and how many booths do we go to, and they ask, they want to know that you're like a legitimate seller, right? And I think by establishing yourself early in wholesale, you're able to do that. Now, again, of course, I am like 95% private label, and it's what I learned, so, I used to snow ski, right? When I was growing up in high school, I learned how to snow ski, okay? Well, kids now, when they go to the mountain, they learn how to snowboard, right? And I try to snowboard, I can't do it for nothing. It's just not, it's not in me. It's not what I learned. And so for me, like working with wholesale, it's been a little difficult because I didn't really learn it early on. And so, of course, I'm going to say private label. And again, for me, what's crazy about Amazon is, you and I know this, Liran, like I just brought a product to the Amazon marketplace in the toy category, had never been there before. There was like 3 or 4 other sellers. And within 2 weeks, that product was ranked under 5,000. And so that was one I did with Curtis Batdorf. We actually sold through 1,000 units in less than a month and a half. And it had never been on there before. And it was my brand. It was Andy's brand. I didn't call it that, but that's kind of what it was. And so, so that's kind of why I love private label. Like you said, like I control my listing. There's not other people on there. And so, but here's what it all comes down to. All right. And this is probably going to be a generic answer. It really comes down, do you have hustle in you? Because if you got hustle in you, you can make wholesale work or you can make private label work, right? I mean, they're both going to work. So that's my pitch.
I mean, for us, like here's the thing. Regardless of what you choose, I think it's imperative that you move into a business model like this. You move into a business model like wholesale or private label, because both are letting you create your brand. Like, in private label, you create your brand by your product is a branded product. And wholesale, we work to create our brand every day as a brand representative for other brands. Like that's what we do, is we're trying to bring our market is to manufacturers and to brand owners. Like, so, my brand is there represented in that fashion. And then I'm just, in terms of Amazon, I'm selling goods, but it's the same concept. Like we want people, I think people should want to own a brand and grow that brand regardless of how you choose to source products. And I think there's a lot of the same similarity with us, like with private label. Like we've actually done really well with private label products before. It's just for us, and this is why I would suggest you going to wholesale. Is it's been more scalable for us because with Andy obviously has a lot of skill. Liran obviously has a lot of skill in terms of being able to pick a product and to be able to do all the things you have to do to raise that rank. Whereas with our system, it's really paint by numbers. Like our guys, me and Eric aren't involved in the order process at all. Like we've outsourced that completely to employees. Like in our business, we want to be involved as little as possible. We want to basically be overseers and guides for where we're going in the future. So I think for us, at least, I mean, I'm sure there is a way to outsource or private label. For us, it was harder to come up with a way to outsource it than it was wholesale. But at the end of the day, if you want, Andy's right. If you want to hustle and do what, regardless of which one you choose, just hustle and do it right. Like that, you'll land in a great spot either way.
And I'm going to split right down the middle and say, like, why not choose both?
When you're talking about split down the middle, those guys couldn't have been more split down the middle. They were so, like, politicians. It's like I'm watching the debate again. Nobody said anything. They said they're both great. They both said they're both great. So
That's funny.
A few people have been asking, do you guys sell internationally at all? And do you have plans to? Wholesale, Andy, anybody?
I mean, we were planning on selling internationally. Like literally, I just set us up whenever Brexit happened. Like I set us up with a VAT and all that stuff, and we were going to ship all of our product over there, and then that happened, and we haven't really gotten lined back up for it. But I mean, it's definitely in our plans to do it long term. I think there's a lot of upside. I think there's a lot of business opportunity in that space, and it doesn't change the way we operate. Like all you're doing is changing let's say I'm currently buying 100 of a product, and I feel like I can sell 130 if I'm utilizing overseas, because I can send 30 to our overseas platform. All it's going to do is change the way I'm shipping product. Like now I'm shipping 30 overseas and 100 still to Amazon.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, with selling overseas, like our business in the States is growing so fast, it's hard to even keep up with it because it grows so fast, doubling year after year. So there hasn't been a need, and quite frankly, because of the rapid growth, it's been, we're still trying to focus. So because we're still growing so much in the States, that's just where we've been focusing. If that were to change, we could, and the growth slowed down, we could look at other avenues. But that's primarily what it is, I think, right, Dan?
Right. I mean, if it were critically important, I mean, we would have already had everything set up and already been sending shipments. But you're right. I mean, we're growing so fast. I feel like we're chasing it as is. Like that's the point. Is we're always chasing our growth.
Lauren asks, for Andy and Liran, do you recommend choosing one generic brand name and applying that brand to all PL products, or one brand name per AZ category, or a different brand name for each of many products? So, I mean, for me personally, I have 3 different brand registries. So if I'm selling a product in a kitchen category and I'm selling a product in sports, I have different brand names for that product. I try to make it a little bit more generic to that category so I could use it for other products within that category. But, you probably, if you're selling within different categories, you probably want to brand differently. I do it all in one seller account, but under different brand registries.
All right. Excellent. Well, hey, you guys, we're coming up on a full hour now. Thankfully, I still see we got over 150 people, actually 170 people that are watching us. So appreciate you guys taking time out to hear what we're talking about. One more time, Dylan, if you could just share, we just want to share with the folks, we actually are partnering together. We're doing a summit in Corbin, Kentucky, the headquarters of the Wholesale Formula. So Dylan, just talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So like if what you heard here today resonated with you as we answered questions and talked to you guys about what we do with wholesale and private label, if you want to go deep with that, if you want to get and work with us in a personal fashion at our own headquarters, where we'll have Andy and Liran there as well teaching a private label. If that sounds like something that you would want to do, 2.5 days, we'll be making that opportunity available. You can check out the application to apply for that event, because right in the link that you see there, it's an extremely limited opportunity. So we're only taking people on an application basis. We'll fill up the seats for the event this week. So if you want, if you can check out that website, check out the promotion for it, and it seems like something that would be a great fit for you and your business and where you want to be with your growth, you can fill out that application. We'll be reviewing applications and contacting the people that we think best fit the program. It has to work both ways. We want to work with people that we think we can help the best, and it has to be a fit for you as well. So that's why that there's an application process, because we're not even taking more than 20 people. Right, it's going to be that personal. You're going to have 5 coaches and less than 20 people, right? So I mean, it goes to show you how personal this interaction is going to be across 2.5 days. So we have to be real careful about who we have come. So if that interests you, definitely check that out. And if we think that you would be a good fit, we'll reach out to you.
Hey, real quick, Dylan, I was just looking at the hotel. That looks like a cool place. I was thinking, Kentucky? What's going to be in Kentucky? But that hotel looks awesome.
It's rustic.
Yeah. Cool. What was your question, Dan?
I was going to say, Liran, can you share your screen and just go to the page and we can talk about some of the bonuses too?
Sure, yes.
But yeah, the hotel, actually, Andy, you will love the hotel, to be honest with you. It's it's out in the woods. There's a lot of hiking. It's next to a beautiful waterfall. It's really awesome. You know, what Kentucky lacks in sophistication and convenience of anything, it does have beauty. Like, it is a very beautiful place.
No, it looked awesome.
Yeah, it's actually right next to the hotel that you'll be staying at is right next to a waterfall. Oh. And that waterfall is the only moon bow in the Northern Hemisphere. What a moon bow is, it's at night over the waterfall, a rainbow will appear that's created from the light of the moon, which is a really weird, and sounds made up, doesn't it? Like, it sounds ridiculous and not true, but it's real. You can Google that, the Cumberland Falls moon bow, and check out pictures of it. It's a real thing.
Is the moon bow one of the bonuses for the summit?
Well, it only it doesn't appear all the time. It's just like it just comes and goes. So I don't know. You have to catch.
It doesn't come and go. It comes when the full moon comes. Like, it's not. It doesn't just randomly happen. It happens when there's a full moon in a clear sky.
Quit with the facts. No one likes hearing facts. Did you learn nothing from the debate? Facts are lame.
Never let them get in the way of a good story.
Right? Yeah.
Dan, you were talking about some of the bonuses. Do you want to kind of share what they are as far as the event?
Can you bring them back? Can you actually go to the website on your screen?
Oh, yes. One second here.
Honestly, I think the event itself is going to be amazing. Dylan mentioned how limited it is. It's going to, we're going to try to break it up into very, very small groups of like 2 to 3 people, where you can ask personal interaction questions with Dylan, personal interaction questions with Eric on the areas of specialization that they do in our business. So I think the event is going to be one of those events that's just an amazing opportunity.
And one of the things that's going to be taking place is that before you come, we'll be doing a lot of surveying with you and figuring out as much about your business as possible and building a profile on you and your business. And then when you get there, we'll also have these handy-dandy notebooks and where we're continuing to build out your profile and figure out as much about you as possible and about your business and the ways that we can help you in the steps that you need to take based off things that are relevant for you. And then after you leave, we're having a war room session where we're spending a few hours on each person's action plan. We develop an action plan after you've left based off all the things that we work with you on to actually build you a step-by-step process of all the things that you need to do and in what order to move forward and to start growing your business. Because we've all been there before. We've all done this. We've taken businesses from nothing up to the $1 million level. So we know the steps to get there. We know the things that you need to do. And so, like, it can't be any easier than for us to just listen to you and hear you out and understand what's going on with you and then tell you and identify all the things that we had to figure out within ourselves and our own business and just tell you what to do. And then all that will be left for you to do is take action yourself. That'll be it. You'll have all the knowledge and understanding. All you'll have to do is just do what's on your action plan from that point.
So Liran, were you able to bring the website up?
Yep. 1 second. Let me bring it up here. There you go. So these are the bonuses that come with the summit.
Yep. So you're going to get access to both our course, the Wholesale Formula. It's a $2,000 course that was they re-released a couple times a year. You're also getting access to Andy's Amazing Freedom course. So just right there, just by attending, it's automatically a $3,000 value in the courses. So I'll cover the values that we are giving out, and then you guys can cover out the values that are on your side. So beyond our course, the Wholesale Formula, you get 1 year in the Wholesale Formula Facebook group. What that group is, it's a Facebook group where it's just a coaching group where anytime you ever have a question about selling on Amazon, you post it in that group. Dan, Eric, or myself personally answer all the questions that come through there. So after the event's over, you still get effectively you still get a year long of interaction with us and question answering with us after it's over. So an insane value for you and your business. The next thing you get is the wholesaleformulalist.com software. That's our own proprietary wholesale sourcing software. It's one that we use in our business, and then you will now have access to it as well. What it does, once a month, you're able to request hundreds and hundreds of product leads that meet the same criteria for sourcing that we teach and use and utilize ourselves in our business. You know, some products that are not sold by Amazon greater than $10 in cost have, you know, between 3 and 5 sellers on them, so that they're, you know, right in that competitive range where they work out really well. And then products that are very, like, that rank in sales rank very well and have a lot of sales per month to meet that criteria. So it makes the sourcing part almost automated for you. The next part you'll see is there the website logo designed by me personally. A lot of experience with that. Completely understand what it takes to have a website that can get you approved for wholesale accounts, because done that for us on the multi-million dollar level. So I can help. I will be just creating that for you, so that, because that's usually a big barrier for people. Technology scares people. It's daunting trying to build your own website. So we just figured the best way to get rid of that excuse that people make about websites is we'll just do it for you. So eliminating excuses for people in their business, because some people love to make excuses about why they can't do things. So we're trying to remove as many of them as possible. And then the next thing you'll see there is all the accommodations and food for the event are free and provided just by attending.
Awesome. So I'll just kind of run through ours. Same thing, you get access to our course that we just recently launched. And it's over 50 videos on how to find private label products, how to launch private label products, how to rank private label products. You're going to get access to our Facebook group, which is, again, similar to theirs. Anytime you have a question, you ask it in that group, you're going to get an answer. You get brand registry assistance for your first private label product, which is huge. Like now, as Amazon continues to roll it out, by having a brand registered product, a couple things. You don't need a UPC code. So a lot of people are really fearful of, you know, do I need a GS1 UPC code? If you have a brand registered product, that does away with all that. You don't need a UPC code. And so you save yourself, you know, to get like a GS1, that costs like $750, right? And then you got to pay a yearly fee of like $200. And so when you get a brand registered product, do away with that. We will help you get your product brand registered. You're going to get a free year membership in our personal mastermind. We're going to get you professional photos for your first private label product. We have some connections with some professional photographers, because we all know what sells on Amazon. It is the photos, right? You got like a nanosecond when somebody is scrolling through their phone. What is going to differentiate your product from the other ones? It's going to be those professional photos. So you're going to get your first one. We're going to get those photos done for you. We're going to give you personal evaluation. So this one is huge. If you're new to private labeling, the question is, man, is this a good product or not? You're going to be able to come to myself. You're going to be able to come to Liran, who have done, you know, probably now close to 100 private label products. And you're going to be able to say, hey, Liran, what do you think about this? And we're going to give you a honest assessment of like, yeah, go for it. This product rocks. Or we're going to say, you know what, you might want to put the brakes on it, and these are the reasons why. We're going to give you access to all the future webinars we're going to be doing about private labeling. And then the last thing, which this piece right here is huge, and I'm going to let Liran talk about it a little bit, because PPC optimization, right, and getting your product ranked is a technique. And there are tips and there are tricks that you can do to get your product ranked that nobody really knows about. So Liran, just share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, you know, one of the algorithms in Amazon search is, you know, Amazon wants to know what's the main keyword for the product and what is the keyword that is converting people to buy your product. The downside is, though, that when you start out on a product, you're not showing up for it in search. So if you're, you know, if you have a coffee mug, right, you're going to start out on page 20 or 30, or no one's ever going to find you. But if you're able to launch a smart pay-per-click campaign on Amazon, and you can start getting visibility and conversions for that keyword of coffee mug, and you start converting there, then Amazon's going to recognize that, hey, people are converting based on this keyword, and you're going to start moving up in the rank for your private label product based on the conversion from pay-per-click. So one of the things that I'll teach you to do is how to set up your pay-per-click campaigns, if you should do auto campaigns versus manual, and how to set up your different ad groups so that you can maximize the opportunity to rank and sell more of your products.
All right, excellent. Well, so there you go, you guys. If again, Liran, if you could just put that up there, if you guys are interested in that summit, it's actually in less than a month. You can go to this site here and put your application in. Again, we're really trying to match up the right sellers for this type of event. So we will call you. We'll go through a business strategy session with you to see if that it's a right fit. But it really is, to me, I'm just super excited to be able to go to Corbin, Kentucky, and to see these guys' operation. I've hung out with them multiple times at various conferences, and I often say, I'm really careful about who I have allegiances with. I want to have allegiances and friendships with people who are authentic and people who really look to help other folks. And if you guys have taken their course, Dan, Eric, Dylan, they are just super helpful people. And not only are they successful, but they are very good, and they want to help other people be successful too. So I'm pumped about it. So look, hey, that's it. We're going to go ahead and close the webinar off. Thanks a lot, you guys, for hanging out with us, and look forward again to seeing you all. Actually, we'll see you in person in less than a month. But if you're interested, go to that site. All right, you guys?
Thanks, Andy.
All right, thanks. Have a great night.